Good afternoon, I hope everybody's doing very well. I'm just about to pack for a 48-hour trip to Italy. I'm going to be heading over there because early next year there's going to be a brand new film come out about Ferrari, and so I'm going to be heading over there and learning a little bit more about Enzo Ferrari's life, and I guess some of the kind of key moments that Ferrari have been to establish and build this incredible brand that they have today. Learn a bit more about the film and so on. So it should be a really quick but very enjoyable 48 hours, and I need to pack. And before I do, I had some shopping on the side because Lids and I headed down to London over the weekend and I got a little bit carried away. Some of these are actually online shopping purchases, but I thought before I unpack this stuff, it'd be a good opportunity for me to do a kind of unboxing, I guess, and show you what I picked up. So some really special pieces in here and some pieces that I think add value to my wardrobe, which is why I purchased them. So first things first, before we get into my London shopping, I actually, over the last 2 weeks, have broken 3 wooden boards in the kitchen, and I was like, not another one. So I jumped onto Amazon and I picked up some wooden chopping boards, and one's just arrived. This is olive wood, so this is my first time seeing it as well. Very nice, look at that. So it's got the little drip line around it, which is great for collecting any juices or just any liquids really. When you're cutting, or whether you're using this as like a charcuterie board or anything, it will just catch anything so it doesn't run off onto wherever it is you have this board. I also like that it had a handle as well, which makes it a bit more convenient. So this was one of the kind of more like display boards that I picked up. The other boards that I have, which will be exactly the same as this pretty much, apart from one of them circular, and I picked that board up for cutting pizzas. Yeah, very nice. It's a very nice piece of wood, as you can see. I guess you could actually probably use that both ways. Olive wood is supposed to be like really hard wearing, which is why I brought it, because the difference between these boards and the boards that we had before were essentially the way in which they've been created. So this is one solid piece of wood, and the boards that we had previously were essentially built up with loads of little strands of wood. Not the most technical guy to talk about carpentry here, but yeah, that's why they were slightly weaker, because they had a larger volume of weak points in them. As in, this is one solid piece, so this will be not impossible, but a lot harder to break than the ones that I have recently. Now the next item is from a company called Connolly. They're just based off of Savile Row. They're actually directly opposite Anderson and Shepherd's Haberdashery, and just around the corner from Tom Sweeney. So they're really nicely located. There's some fantastic menswear shops in that area, and of course you have the Row as well. But this brand was actually suggested to Lids and I a long time ago. We were actually away in the Maldives at the Ritz-Carlton, and we bumped into a really lovely couple, and they suggested that if we were fans of Loro Piana, then we should definitely check out Connolly, because they're a fantastic British brand and they have some really beautiful fabrics such as cashmeres and linens, and we were blown away when we went in there. It was really beautifully set out, almost like a gallery. They do sell like art, and they also have some really nice homeware stuff in there as well. So we went in there for the clothing, although I nearly did buy a, I don't know what you'd call them. They're like, you put the toothpaste in, and as you twist the toothpaste holder, it kind of like helps squeeze out the toothpaste. I felt like it would solve my problems with toothpaste being left out on the side, because it would just be neat and tidy, and they also looked really incredible as well. So maybe something I'll pick up in the future. But we were in there for clothes, and Lydia grabbed a beautiful British cashmere knit, which was incredibly heavy and chunky, but it was very, very nice. It'd actually be perfect just for a display piece. And I also picked up a very beautiful cashmere piece, which this was an item of clothing that I wasn't actually going out and looking for whilst I was shopping. I'm very much on the kind of direction of just trying to get the key pieces in my wardrobe right now. So as an example, one of the other pieces I picked up, which I don't have with me today, was just a black suit. And I recently came to realise that I don't actually have a black suit, which is shocking really, isn't it? I should have a black suit in my wardrobe, but I didn't. And so I'm just kind of getting those very versatile and key pieces to finish my kind of the foundations of my wardrobe. And I'd say that this is a piece that would potentially become secondary to those. But when I tried this on and I started to think about the times that I'd be able to wear this, it just became such an obvious purchase for me, because it really fluctuates nicely from more casual to more dressed up days, which I really loved, because finding pieces that have that range is quite difficult, and this is definitely one of those pieces that's incredibly special, but I wouldn't feel silly going down to the pub in it. But equally, I would feel absolutely fine going to a nice restaurant and wearing this as the jacket of choice for the evening. So it is a navy cashmere. They kind of call it like a shacket, so kind of like a shirt jacket. And it's got this really nice grey detailing under the collar. We've got horn buttons on it, and it's also fully unconstructed, which means that it just kind of falls very elegantly. And another thing to note with unconstructed garments are the level of craftsmanship and detail is enhanced no end. You don't have any lining or any doubled up fabric essentially to hide any nasties, and so everything has to be flawless. And so if you look just inside of the armhole here, you can just see that it's just finished off absolutely beautifully. It's just done so well. It's in a nice kind of midnight navy, and if I just quickly chuck this on, a really nice casual, effortless, but kind of like chic jacket, and I like it. I think that it's going to be something that I'm going to get lots of wear out of. It's going to keep me warm. It's just the craftsmanship and the build of this jacket is just fantastic, and also it's nice to support British companies. So yeah, this is my first purchase from Colony, and I'm very happy with it. There's loads of ways you can kind of style this jacket up. I've currently got it looking a little bit relaxed, but of course you can have the collar down. I could put a shirt on underneath this and it would definitely work as well. It's just such a nice piece for autumn winter. We've also got a nice little chest pocket just here, and also 2 pockets in the jacket to keep your hands warm, because I get very cold hands. So as I mentioned, directly opposite Colony is the Anderson & Shepherd haberdashery, which I've shopped in before, and I picked up the linen neckties or neckerchiefs, which I got lots of use out of over the summer, and I've even worn them actually of late as well. I was actually wearing it when we went shopping over the weekend, and so because I'm getting so much use out of them, I thought it would be lovely to have some autumn winter versions of those neckerchiefs, and so that's exactly what I did. I went in, I picked up myself a couple of new neckerchiefs, and they're a wool and silk mix. As you can see, you might be able to see if I come a little bit closer. We have a houndstooth finish, or as I famously said once, a puppy's tooth, or whatever I said. And I've also got this check here, which is also in a brown, which, as you can see, a lovely soft detail to it. So this one is kind of like a lighter finish, and this one's a bit of a darker finish. If I just give you, I need to steam these before I wear them, but let me just quickly roll that up. I just really like to have the option to chuck something around my neck just to give me a little bit of extra warmth and comfort without it being too heavy, like a scarf. I love scarves, but sometimes when I'm in and around London, it's nicer to have something a little bit more subtle just to throw on. Something's a little bit easier to take on and off as well. I can take this off, chuck it in a jacket pocket, and then if I get cold, I can chuck it back on again. So I guess it's just a little bit easier for the kind of autumn season when the weather's fluctuating so much, because I can just take it off, as I mentioned, and it doesn't feel like I've got this big thing to carry around. It can just go away and then come back out again when I need it. So yeah, brought a couple of these, and we'll see, but I'm pretty confident that these are going to serve me very well over the next 6 months or so. And then these were purchased for around the house. A pair of cream soft Shetland cashmere socks. Probably shouldn't have bought cream because they might get dirty very quickly, but yeah, just a nice comfy pair of socks. I don't really own stuff like this, but I've started to wear socks a little bit more around the house actually. So I thought, I saw these and I was like, they look incredibly comfortable. So grabbed a pair of those. And then last but not least, at the same time as realizing that I didn't have a black suit, I also realized that the only black tie that I owned looked like I was in Blink-182. It was one of those really super skinny, thin black ties that were particularly popular in the early 2000s, and there's nothing wrong with that look, but I quite enjoy a wider tie, so sort of more classic traditional tie widths. And so I found a really great company that sell ties that knot up really well, and that company is Viola Milano, and I picked up a handful of ties from them probably about 3 months ago, and I've got lots of wear out of them, and I've also had lots of compliments about how well they knot up as well. So I thought, because the length of them isn't too far off my length, I'd say they're probably around about 5 centimeters overall too long. I think these are around about an 8 centimeter tie, but a lot of ties that I've been picking up online previously to finding these guys were super long, and so to have them all tailored and altered gets quite expensive. And so I thought, you know what, I like the way these knot up. They've got a great variety online, and they also come in a length that's quite suitable. You can have these made to any size that you want, but obviously that does come at a cost. So I was online shopping for my black tie. I also had, I don't know if I've left it in here. I've also had a few ties that have been got by moths, as you can see here, this tie just on the front there, and also on the thinner part of the tie as well. So I came upstairs, I grabbed my tie rack, I laid all of my ties out, and I went through them all, and there were probably like 3 or 4 styles that the moths had got, so they needed to be replaced. I also needed my black tie in a thicker size. And then whilst I was online, there was also another tie that I quite like the look of, and so I picked that up as well. So first things first, my black tie doesn't appear to be here, which is very strange. There's a small chance that I didn't put it on my order, or when I ordered this navy tie, I accidentally clicked the black one off because I had selected a few navy tie variations, because there were like 3 or 4 variations of a plain navy tie, and I needed to decide which one I thought looked the nicest using the images online, and I ended up going for what I believe this is called a grenadine tie. So it's got quite a soft unconstructed fabric, and again these just knot up really nicely. I was particularly focused on the way in which the light's reflected on it. I didn't want it to be too shiny. I also didn't want the fabric to be too light as well, so I went for a navy tie. And at the same time, I saw this really nice chalk stripe navy tie that you can see here. And I felt like this would be a beautiful tie to go with my navy suit that I have from Suster and Hicks, for example. And also navy is just a really good colour to buy for guys in ties because they're just so wearable. And then in my wardrobe, I have a green and kind of brown spotted tie, and I get lots of wear out of it. And so I thought, get a navy one because you're going to wear it a lot, and so that's exactly what I did. It's pretty much the same as that green one, but just in a navy. I absolutely fell in love with this tie whilst I was on. I was looking for a brown tie to replace my Eton brown tie in my wardrobe, and I saw this, and it's just got a nice soft pattern detail to it, and again it's just finished off really nicely. All of these ties are actually handmade. This was the tie that I saw that I thought, this is quite different, it's something that I haven't got in my wardrobe, I quite like it. Online I thought it was a little bit more like red wine burgundy colour, but it's actually turned out to be a little bit more of a purple. It's got a bit of a cooler kind of tint to it, which I don't have anything like this in my wardrobe. It's slightly different to what I was expecting, but I think I'm going to keep it. There's some silk in here, I believe, so this will knot up really, really nicely. So I think we're going to keep this one. Because one thing that I've realised is that I can actually experiment a little bit more with my ties. The last time I shopped here, I picked up some ties that were a little bit more colourful, and I've been able to wear those, and they don't interrupt my colour palette that I tend to go for a lot. They just add a little bit of detail, and I quite like that. It's kind of like my way of playing with colour. Because I am quite muted, I like my earthy tones, and so it just gives me the opportunity to experiment a little bit. I actually have my little tie rack here, so you can see that I've got a nice little collection and selection of tie colours going on. But you know, you don't often see me wearing yellow, but a yellow tie, absolutely fine. I love my greens. This was the green dotted tie that I was telling you about. This was actually from Gagliardi, and this is a really fantastic tie as well. I think my favourite tie is this one from Brunello Cucinelli. Really nice striped tie. So yeah, I'm building up a nice collection. But I feel like the collection of ties that I've picked up here, minus the black tie that I need, it kind of like completes the kind of fundamentals that I wanted to have within my tie wardrobe. Because I'm wearing ties a little bit more frequently now. I was wearing one on Saturday night, and yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have them. It's nice to add a little bit of interest into your outfit as well. And then last but not least, this isn't a tie, this is actually a scarf again. So this is a little bit of a hybrid really for me, because I typically have cashmere scarves, which are quite chunky, very functional, very cozy, and then I have those neckerchiefs, which are obviously a lot smaller, a lot lighter. And I guess this is that hybrid. So if I want to wear something that gives me a bit of warmth, but isn't too heavy and bulky, then this was that piece. And so I purposely went for a scarf that had black, grey and brown in it, because they're tones and colours that work nicely with a lot of my outfits. And so I saw this online, and when I saw it I was like, that's perfect. I'm not really going to find anything that's going to work for me as well as this. So yeah, we've gone for a nice light tie, which I find that these scarves work really nicely underneath suits because they're quite thin, they're not too chunky and bulky. The way I like to wear these are as if you're going to be doing your tie. I wrap it around, and then I come under and through like you would with a tie, and then I just pull and sort of flare out this section, grab the piece underneath and then pull it up like you would a tie, and then it just creates this nice, you can sort of finish it so it hugs around your neckline here, so it's quite tight, which creates that warmth. And then you can either have that so it's hanging out, or again you can tuck that in. If you're wearing a suit jacket, you could tuck that in, and it kind of almost works a little bit like a cravat. It gives that volume here just to fill that void up, and also most importantly keep you warm. So yeah, this was a nice pickup, something that I haven't really got. I think I have one or two scarves that are very similar to this, however they're silk, and so I wear them when I'm going to like a black tie event, and so I didn't have anything for more casual environment, so that's what this was picked up for. And so that took a little bit longer than I thought, but that completes my unboxing for today. But I'm going to get myself packed, which will probably take me some time because I still need to work on what outfits I'm going to take. And the weather is, as you would expect this time of year, a little bit up and down. I think we're raining on day one, but it's a bit warmer, and then day two the sun comes out, it's a bit cooler. So I'll take a look, see what we're going to wear and get packed up. Well, the packing has commenced and is almost complete. I have 3 outfits on the rail. I like to do this when I'm packing because it just helps me organise my outfits, and I can see what I've selected. I also am able to play around with any variations that I want to really easily. So I do this and then I try the outfits on to make sure I'm happy with the looks. And then my shoes go underneath. I also sit them on dust bags that they're going to be travelling in as well. I've started to travel with dust bags for my shoes because it just helps protect them whilst they're in the suitcase. I also do use the lightweight shoe trees as well that I picked up from Amazon. Just helps the shoes keep their shape, particularly suede shoes, like any suede loafers and stuff. Really helps when you get there. Even if you just take one pair of shoe trees, you can just stick them in each pair, and they just help reshape the shoe again if they got battered during their journey over. But yeah, I won't go through all of my outfits, but I do have my Connolly cashmere that's coming with me, and my new Anton and Shepherd neckerchief. And then I've kind of gone for an autumnal palette. Like I said, it could rain on the first day, and the temperature's sort of mild. It's not cold, it's not hot. So I did bring actually a variation on one day where I've got a polo or a cashmere knit, so I've got an option there. And I've just tried to do things that I can layer, so hence the neckerchiefs and scarves and stuff like that. I can take them, I don't have to. It just gives a little bit of flexibility whilst I'm there as to what I do and don't wear. I used to overpack and pack like 5 outfits and then just decide which one at the time I felt was the best fit. Now I just kind of pack what I'm going to wear, and it'll either be suitable or it won't, but I think we should be okay. Really enjoying these tones. As you can see, very muted tones, very earthy tones. I love the autumn time for fashion. I just think it's such a nice time to play around with those kind of colours that I love. I know in the summer I could probably be a little bit more colourful, but I feel like this is my time of year. And then over on this rail, I just got my travel outfits. I'm going to be wearing a pair of joggers because we're leaving at like 4 a.m, cashmere jacket, a cream knit, and then I'm going to be wearing my Beluti Shadow sneakers, which are just incredibly comfortable. And I've begun packing all of my tech stuff, so my camera equipment, laptop. Then I've got pants and socks, and I just need to sort out my toiletries. So once I've arranged what toiletries I'm going to be taking, I'll get this all in the suitcase ready to go, and I'll have dinner with Lids and then try and get an early-ish night for what's going to be a very early start. I think I'm going to have a 3 a.m. alarm clock tomorrow, but it's going to be worth it. Well, as you can see, it's very early this morning, but we're all set, ready to go. So let's hit the road. Well, I'm starting the day off right with a croque monsieur, one of my favourites. Some mustard sauce here as well.
Yes, sir.
And a coffee. Good times. We've arrived to a very rainy Italy. Feels like a very British day today. Well, we have just arrived to our hotel. The colours, absolutely lovely. Well, we've just checked into my cute little Italian room. And we have a few hours, so I think I'm going to get some shut-eye before we meet the rest of the team later on. Good afternoon from Modena. We have just arrived here in Italy. I've got freshened up after a very early flight this morning. The flight was super smooth. I think it's the fastest I've ever made it through Heathrow Terminal 5. It was a very nice, pleasant experience today. And I got to meet the rest of the team at the airport, and we all travelled over together. The reason why we're visiting Modena is of course because this is really the home and I guess the life of Ferrari, the brand. And so we're going to be learning a little bit more about his upbringing, a little bit more about his relationships, and also the journey that Ferrari went on. And I'm sure that there were some really hairy moments throughout the creation of Ferrari, the brand. And I'm sure that Enzo Ferrari has got a great story to tell. And so I'm really looking forward to discovering more about Enzo and learning a little bit more about his life. I'm also very excited to be heading to the Ferrari Museum. I think that's going to be fantastic. Hopefully we get to see the Ferrari 250. I absolutely love that car. I got to see it at Salon Privé and I fell in love with it. I was like, wow, that is one special car. My bank balance won't allow me to have one, but I can certainly appreciate one. So fingers crossed they have one there today. And of course, seeing the whole range, really, all of the cars. I haven't seen an Enzo in a while, which was of course the car that was named after Enzo Ferrari himself. And so we have dinner this evening, which I'm sure will be lovely. Of course, Modena is famously known for its balsamic vinegar, so I'm sure that we're going to be experiencing some amazing food. It's very well known for its food here. So it should be a lovely day and a lovely evening. Been able to dress as if I was in the UK. I've gone for quite a layered look actually, as you saw stacked up on my rail yesterday. So anyway, I'm going to head downstairs to the reception, meet the rest of the team, and we'll begin our tour of Modena. We're just wandering through the streets, and I can't help but note how beautiful all of the colours of the buildings are. So nice. So this is the Cathedral of Modena, and it was built in, or at least started in the 12th century, finished in 1309, and this is the symbol of Modena really. It's the tallest tower that's here, and they actually filmed a little segment from the film in this square. So built in the 16th century, this is the oldest church in Modena. I've been saying Modena, but the lady that's doing our guide tour is saying Modena. So we'll go with what she's saying. I honestly don't know how I do it. We've had 2 hours of free time, and I've managed to end up rushing around to get ready to head downstairs for dinner this evening. We're going to be heading for a 3-course fine dining experience, which should be very lovely. I was busy editing some of the images that we took during our tour today of Modena, and it was really fascinating to see the architecture. I noticed that there was quite a lot of similarity between each building and the style in which it was all done, which made it quite cohesive I quite enjoyed it, and it was nice to see some of the small local shops. I haven't seen anywhere yet that's made me want to go in and buy balsamic vinegar, but if at some stage I pass somewhere, I certainly will. But anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to go for dinner, because otherwise I'm going to be making everybody late, and we don't want to be doing that. Well, we just arrived to dinner this evening. It looks very nice. Enjoying the wooden cloak door. Oh, lovely. Beautiful timing.
Like, I would get bored of being on the same ship with the same food for 6 months.
Where's the balsam vinegar at? We're in like balsam vinegar land. Does anyone else want any of this? I'm a big balsam man. Do you want the oil?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. It's dangerous.
Yeah, there's a lot of wine to go through. So we're just enjoying a 2022 Vermentino, and I have to say, it's had the seal of approval. Of course, it's a product of Italy. Very nice. Dessert has arrived.
Fondant, isn't it?
That looks absolutely delicious.
Gosh, this is amazing.
Chocolate cake's looking good. Well, good morning. I had a lovely night's sleep last night. I think I managed to get around about 7 hours, which is very welcomed. But we had a lovely dinner last night at Rest. It actually was probably more of like a 5-course meal. I think last night I said we're going for a 3-course dining experience. It was definitely maybe 3 wines and like 5 courses, but it was absolutely delicious, left very satisfied. And we walked back, which was actually really nice. I've realised that after I've eaten, I like to move a little bit. Not too much, but I like to move a little bit. It just helps me feel a bit lighter. It doesn't sit as heavy. Because of course last night there was lots of pasta and slightly heavier food. So I've just finished off getting packed up, but today is, I guess, kind of like the main event. We're going to be heading to the Ferrari Museum, and we're going to be checking out all of the vehicles and obviously learning more about the brand's history. So yesterday was a little bit about Enzo's kind of life and upbringing and the village or town in which he grew up in, and then today is more about the business and of course those awesome cars. So I'm going to get myself checked out the hotel and embark on what should be a very Ferrari-filled day. Well, welcome to the Ferrari Museum. Wow, this place is huge. Look down there.
Basic information, if I may, in order to put things into context. This is one of 2 museums we have. I understand you're quite limited with the time. The other one is in Maranello. It's not attached to the factory, but it's just a few blocks away. And Maranello is 25 kilometers to the south. Some of you might not expect to see a circular car. Perhaps everybody wants to see red car, right? So why is that? As a fact, there's no ready-made Ferrari. So Ferrari doesn't produce and then the car is so this leaves lots of space for personalization. So they're becoming more rare and this has a sentimental value because Ferrari had driven it for the opening of the factory in 1947.
This is the first ever Ferrari car that was made. Only 3 were made, and this is a replica that we're looking at today because all 3 cars were damaged. But this was actually driven by Enzo himself. And I think the car that's still in the show for me is the F40. I think it reminds me of when I was a child and I used to play with Ferrari toys. It's got such a nice shape to it. Well, coming in at a casual 400,000 euros, we have the latest addition to Ferrari's collection. Functional, luxurious 4x4. Looks like there's a lot of natural light coming into that cabin, and they've seriously stretched those tyres on those wheels. Look at that. But I have to say, I really like the shape. It's really nice. We're just taking a look at the home that Enzo Ferrari was actually born in. So, top floor is where he was born, and allegedly, I don't know how well fact-checked this is my side, but I read that he was actually born on the 18th, and it was documented on his birth certificate on the 20th because there was a snowstorm and they couldn't get to hospital in time. So he was actually born 2 days prior to the birth certificate's date. So let's go and take a look inside. We'll just come and look inside. We're just actually checking out how the badge, the evolution of the badge, so he didn't have to die over the years. And I have to say, I think I'm a fan of the older badge style. That's one hell of an engine block. Oh no! Oh, the boys are having stinkers. Oh, that's not fair play. Oh my goodness. Okay, slow down. These guys are sending these cars out of operation. Natural.
One mouthful.
Where we've just got our little mini sliders come through. They come in a really cool little burger box. Ooh, good tune.
I have your gramigna, the signature type of pasta for the city. It is cooked on a tomato juice, for which we just juice out the tomatoes and use the liquid to cook the pasta. The cremage of it is done with a reduction of sour cream, lambrusco, and red spring onions or shallots to take a little bit of sweetness. At the base, you'll be having the sausage of Mora, slightly charcoal, to finish some rosemary powder and rosemary oil. If we may give you an advice, is just to give it a little mix before you proceed, so flavors get to be together. For the two, I have the pumpkin ravioli. Okay, you start to be full.
The shadow. Delicious. Wonderful, thank you.
Sorry.
I realised I forgot to show you the courtyard outside the back of the hotel. As you can see, a nice little space out here overlooking some gardens, which probably a residential property. Very quiet, very nice and relaxing. Well, we've just come through passport control and it is the quietest that it's ever been. Very impressed. Obviously not a popular time to travel. So going out and returning was very pleasant, but I'm just about to pick up my luggage and head back home and get a good night's sleep. Looking forward to my bed.